Hello and welcome to my Scratch mini guide series. This is number 8. I'm going to run out of fingers soon, and this one is going to be all about how we can use events or broadcasting events in our Scratch game to make it a lot more easier to program. So let's jump right into it. Now I've got the code that I used from the last mini guide, and I'd recommend that you watch that just so you know what's going on in that code. So at the moment, we've just got a simple bit of code that will get our Scratch to bounce from side to side. Okay, and it's just constantly doing that. Now, one trap a lot of people fall into. One trap a lot of people fall into is the fact that they make everything start as soon as the green flag's pressed. All the sprites suddenly burst to life, and everything just goes for it. And that's probably not the most thoughtful way to program something, and so what I want to show you is this broadcast function. Okay, so what I quite like to do when I'm programming quite a big Scratch project is think about, when do I want certain things to happen? I only want something to happen when I say it happens, okay? And so it gives us a lot more flexibility to be precise when we use the broadcast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that when the green flag is clicked, I'm going to broadcast a new message, and I'm going to say setup. Okay? And I'm going to drag this block here now. These are all in events. Okay? I'm going to drag this block here, and I'm going to say when I receive setup, and this is where I'll put all of my setup code. So I'm going to set my points to 0. I'm going to tell him to go to the middle of the screen. Tell him to point in a certain direction. All this normal stuff. You'll have seen my setup video, hopefully, and so this will all be familiar to you. So maybe I'll set my rotation style, I will swap my costume back to costume 1, and I will set my size to 100%, and I will clear all graphic effects, and so I just know that my sprite is all ready and set up. And now I can choose when, so I've set my game up, and then I can choose the condition as to when my sprite actually starts moving. So here we go, I could say broadcast setup, and I could maybe do, as a very simple example, if we go to control, I can say wait for 5 seconds, and then in events, I'm going to grab a when I receive message 1, and we're going to make this a new message, and we're going to call it start. So we're going to broadcast setup, and it's going to do all of this code when it receives setup. And then we're going to wait 5 seconds. And then we're going to broadcast start. And when I receive start, I'm going to do all of this code. And you can see, following on from last video, that we have a very specific endpoint. When points equal 10, that's the end of the game. Okay? And so not only are we controlling the endpoint, but now we're starting to think about when things start by broadcasting messages. Now what's really good about this is, now if I just hit, before I get carried away, let's just hit play on this, so you can see it's done the setup, it's waiting 5 seconds, and in a second it will start moving, there we go, and the game has started. Now what's really good about this is that when I add another sprite, let's say I add some bananas, okay? What's really good about this is that I don't have to worry about when the green flag is clicked now. I know that I have a setup where I can put all my setup code in to set the bananas up, and I have a start, which is going to be all of the things that I want these bananas to do once the game has started. So maybe I will do something very similar actually. Let's just copy all of this over to the banana, and let's take that and pop it here. So we're going to go to maybe minus 100, minus 50, point direction 90, set rotation style all around, swap costume to costume 1, set size, yep, great. And then when I receive start, let's repeat until, actually let's grab it from this one as well. So if you don't know, you can just click and drag something and drop it on another sprite, and it will copy that code over to them. So I'm just going to copy this, I'm going to repeat until points equal 10, I'm going to say that I'm going to turn, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to turn back. So I'm just going to make it kind of wiggle a little bit. And so now what's going to happen is both of them are going to get set up. You can see there they've both gone to where they need to start. and then waiting 5 seconds, and then they're going to pop into action. And now that my banana's doing this weird kind of ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Let's change this to 0.5 and let's get another wait. This is completely outside of what I wanted to do, but 0.5, and let's see if that kind of makes it. So there's 5 seconds setup time, and then here we are, and you can see the bananas are wiggling. My scratch is going back and forth, and I have complete control over when they get set up and when they start. So if I didn't want that to happen, I can just come into here and I can say, actually, I don't want anything to happen for the first 10 seconds of the game. I might be waiting for something to be clicked, and then I want to do something. And so I have complete control. In fact, we don't have to have when green flag clicks at all. What we could have is a start button. So what I'm going to do instead is, let's say, when green flag clicks. Let's keep our setup on when green flag clicks. Let's get rid of our wait. Let's just broadcast setup. This video is going to be a lot longer than I intended, but and then very simply, let's make the bananas something we have to click. So when I receive setup, good, and then let's say when this sprite clicked. So let's pop this on the end here. No, let's just get rid of this. Yeah, I'm not gonna use this. When this sprite clicked, what we're going to do is we're going to broadcast start game, and then we're going to hide this sprite. So we're going to come onto looks, and we're going to say hide. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us a button that we can click on, and that will start our game running. And I'm going to remove this code because it's going to be confusing for you. So here's what we're doing. When the green flag clicked, we're going to set everything up. Everything's going to start where it needs to start. And then when the cat receives the start broadcast, it's going to start moving. But the only time we broadcast start is once the banana's been clicked. So let's give it a go. Let's see it in action. So here we go. I click play. Now you can see we can wait forever now, and this cat will not move until I click the bananas. I can click around on the screen and nothing will happen. Click on the cat and nothing will happen. But as soon as I click on the bananas, disappears and the cat starts moving. So you can see this is a really powerful thing to enable us to control when something happens, okay? Rather than using when green flag clicked, using events and broadcasting messages to say when something happens. Obviously, the odd green flag here and there might be necessary, and that's absolutely fine. You might want to set things up as soon as the green flag is clicked, but think about, does everything need to start on the green flag, or can I use events? Well, that has certainly been enough from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Sweet!